You don't think I'm a bad person.
All I think is that I love you.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the next part of my stream, and that's my review for Bones and All. And if you're curious, Bones and All is definitely better than Velma episode 1 and 2. I can safely say that. So don't worry about that. It's like, oh shit, is this doing the best first? Is this going to keep getting worse? No, chat. Thankfully, I've saved the best for last in terms of the reviews tonight. But Bones and All is a movie I wanted to see in 2022. I wanted to see this in the theater, chat. But again, it was during the holidays. There was so much coming out. I just got really busy. But I finally have taken the time to watch this, and I watched it on VOD. And for those who don't know, the film follows this this pair of young, love-struck cannibals who flee together on a cross-country road trip throughout Middle America, developing loving feelings of each other and encountering other disturbed cannibals, and also indulging in their appetites, chat. It's like, oh, just what you want for a romantic movie. I actually like the premise. It kind of reminded me of one of my favorite, actually is my favorite vampire film of all time, Near Dark, directed by Catherine Bigelow in the late 1980s, I think like 1987, 88, where it follows this family of roaming vampires, a cast of like Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton. You follow this person who's basically inducted into the vampire family, and they go from place to place, and they're just, you just follow their wake of destructions, very bloody, very graphic, and really I just love the whole premise because it's like a neo-noir Western chance, like a Western vampire movie, and I just loved it for that setting. It was just dirty and gritty, chat, and it really stands out among a lot of, I feel like, vampire movies. And so yeah, I was like, okay, I was excited because it just reminded me of that. And, I was unfamiliar with the director's work. I believe the director, his name is Luca Guadagnino. I think if I'm mispronouncing his name, my apologies. Apparently, he's done a lot of other cannibal movies, so it's like this is kind of like a thing for him. It's a fascination for him. And I don't know, maybe he's honed it with this film, chat. I mean, I'm curious to hear other people's opinions on this because it is kind of generating a very, I don't know, mixed, maybe divisive reaction from some people, certainly from audiences, I would say. But for myself, what you have here, is a disturbing and twisted, tragic romance in which your actions lead to devastating consequences. Our principal cast of characters, or to say the very least, are very morally complicated. And I think that's done on purpose. And I like that. And the film constantly likes to change your perceptions of them at any given moment. I really like the setting of the film, which takes place in the United States, the Midwest, Middle America, early 1980s. It has this very warm and lived-in aesthetic that reminded me a lot of coming-of-age dramas from the 1980s. And I think that was done distinctly on purpose. It's like the film makes you wistful for that sleepy, almost laid back hometown you grew up in, and maybe even saw in films if you didn't grow up in that kind of place, but then quickly shifts to just a really disturbing and graphic scene of someone chewing and mutilating like someone's finger, or watching an old woman slowly die and decompose on her bedroom floor. That's what this film does. Leading up to these scenes, you have a lot of great tension building and some really creepy cinematography, along with some very beautiful cinematography too, showcasing the American Midwest, the Middle America, which is very beautiful. It's rolling hills, and it's like, oh, it's very wide and bright, and the sun is shining. But then the film is not afraid to get super intimate and very gross, and it can happen immediately after a scene, like that. Like, listen, if you want to see some gross cannibal scenes, the movie will give them to you. along with showing the aftermath, chat. You know, I like that. It's not like, oh, we're just going to cut away from all this. It's like, no, we're going to indulge in it. And I think everyone in the cast does a great job. You know, I'm not familiar with this actress. I don't know if this is her first role or first big movie or first project. Taylor Russell, who plays this girl who recently turned 18. She is one of these cannibals who's traveling with her father across the country because, well, she can't stop eating people. She keeps eating people all the time. She can't help herself. She can't help her appetites. And, you know, it's this one inciting moment in the movie where she's bonding with this particular girl at school, invites her over to her home late at night, even though she's not supposed to go out after dark because she keeps eating people. And, you know, she's, hey, it's like, hey, and again, it feels like 1980s teenage girl, coming of age, drama, comedy. It's like they're all sitting in their living room. It has all the aesthetics you would feel like of a 1980s house. It's like, yeah, and it's very warm. It's very intimate. Everyone's very close to each other. And you have, you know, the character of Marin, played by Taylor Russell. And she's just talking to this girl, and they're bonding, and, you know, they're just trying on makeup. It's like typical things you would see. And, you know, they're trying on different nail polish, and it's like one of them smells like cinnamon, I guess. And she's like, here, smell it. And she's like, smell my finger. And she takes the finger and, just fucking starts eating it. Just immediately, she's like, just, and it's graphic. Other thing, too, it's not like, I bite your finger off. No, it's like, I'm chewing your finger. I'm just chewing your finger, and then it's pulled out, and it's all fucking mangled. I mean, it's disturbing to watch. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you have these, the movie takes you off guard. And I like that. You'll have these things which you've always seen for fucking decades in these types of movies, you think. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. She's a cannibal, or at least what they establish in the movie, she's an eater. She's an eater. Because that's what Mark Rylance say, his character of Sully. You know, events happen throughout the rest of the film quickly, and her dad exits the movie, and she's pretty much on her own because they constantly had to move around because she fucking wouldn't stop attacking and eating people. And, you know, she's constantly dueling within herself, like, of her morality, her conscience, but also just her nature. This is what she does, this drive. She's like, she can't stop herself, right? And so she's a very conflicted character. But, you know, she indulges in her appetites. Something happens to the father out of the picture, and so she's traveling a lot by herself within the movie. She comes upon other people like herself. The first person she comes upon, which is Mark Rylance's character of Sully, who gives a great performance. He's not in the movie a lot. He has probably much 3 big scenes within the film. And he establishes some of the lore of this world. Of what they are, like, you know, these cannibal people. I mean, vampiric in nature, you can say, maybe ghoul-esque, zombie-esque, you know, undead, maybe. I mean, it's just like, like, what? They don't really define what they are, but he does come up with, it does establish certain things in the movie. Like, they're called eaters. They have this drive for human flesh. They're able to smell each other over fucking great distances. At least initially in the movie, it's like, you know, yards upon yards away. If not like a mile away, it's like, Jesus. And you get some really creepy sequences. I mean, he has this kind of, you know, his voice, Mark Rylance's voice, like, he's all decked up, like, you know, he's been doing this for a while. And he has various trinkets and things that establish he's been doing this for a while. But he almost has this voice, this sing-sonny voice that sounds like this. And it reminded me of, what was it, Herbert or Hugh? Was it Herbert? Herbert from Family Guy. So imagine a Herbert from Family Guy, still a pedophile and everything, but also he's a cannibal. And like every time he's on screen, he just makes you so uncomfortable. He's just so fucking weird, even though he's just constantly trying to like put everyone at ease. It's like, dude, this is just not working. He's been on his own for like decades, and it's like he just doesn't understand human behavior. It's really cool to anytime we interact with him, which again is rare. You know, there's big parts of the movie where you're just not with him. When he shows up, you're like, oh Jesus, you're instantly put on edge, which is great. He does a great job. And then you have, you know, Timothée Chalamet, who plays, you know, Marin's lover in the movie, Lee. And, you know, he's very much that 1980s counterculture, almost, I guess you could say John Bender from Breakfast Club kind of vibe, Chad, just in terms of his clothes and his attitude and that kind of thing, and his like sense of morality and code. And that's where we get the romance between the two of them. Starts out as a a very passionate friendship, and it continues on into a romance of all the various troubles and issues that typically would ensue. And I mean, I liked it. I mean, I bought the relationship, but I was the thing is the movie again. It's very good at this. It's like a song. It's like it's very sing-song. It makes you feel like it hypnotizes you into their romance, and like they have great chemistry here. They really do. Like you buy that these two people, they feel a kinship because of what they are, who they are, and you feel invested in it. But then they'll do something horrible. It's like, oh shit, and you're back to reality. You're like, oh yeah, this is what they are. This is what they are, and it's very disturbing. I feel like some people, the movie is kind of like a bit of a mixed reaction from critics and audiences, with some saying which I'm like, I don't know. I don't think the movie's saying this. I never got this. I feel like it's the complete opposite. Where it's trying to normalize cannibalism. I'm like, I don't think that's what it's doing. Or trying to say that, despite being cannibals and murdering people, they're actually good people. I'm like, I don't think the movie is saying that. I feel like the movie is saying, it's like, yes, these people can find love within each other, because of what they are, but they still pay for their choices, and there's still consequences. And I like that. Because, at one point in the movie, I'm like, all right, I hope you're not doing what I think you're doing. And it's like, it's nothing matters, but no, things matter. And I like that. At the end of the movie, there are consequences. And I thought that was great. That is a very powerful ending. I don't want to say too much. I want to give too much away, chat. But it was very good. And the other part of the movie, too, obviously, going on this cross-country journey, at least initially, I feel like for the film's first half, or maybe the first 2/3, is her trying to find her mother, who she believes is the one that gave her this. Like, she inherited this lust for human flesh. And part of it's that, and it's like a mystery. And interacting with people that may have known her mother. And, it's great. I really enjoyed it. It's very well shot. It's beautiful. It's creepy. Great performances. Michael Stuhlbarg is also in it, chat. He plays another eater, and he's very much the kind of classic Appalachia, deliverance, ding, 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 playing the banjo like cannibal. And he has a small scene in the movie. Well, funny enough, David Gordon Green was in the movie too. I was like, is that David Gordon Green? They get a little part in there where you get to kind of, again, establish more of what these eaters are. I thought that was pretty cool and creepy and disturbing. And it really shows you how even though you have like these eaters that occasionally come across each other, they're also like really apprehensive about interacting with each other because they don't know like what they could do. It's like, Mark Rylance says, I have a fucking, rule. I don't eat an eater, but you don't know if these guys follow the same rules. I'm like, I kind of like that. I thought that was really, really creepy. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a very good movie, Chad. I think if you like dark, tragic romances, if you like cannibal movies, I think you're going to dig the hell out of this. They do not, cut away from that. There's some disturbing graphic scenes and there's stuff that they even imply. I just like that they have like these aftermath scenes in the movie too, where you literally have characters that are just covered in blood and gore. And they're fucking underwear, and they're drawing off, as Mark Rylance says in the movie, just drawing off. And they're just talking to each other and establishing more lore and more of the relationships. I thought that was really, really cool. Some good makeup effects in the movie, too. That was pretty cool, chap. So, yeah, overall, I thought Bones and All was great. Another great movie from 2022. I wish I saw it in the theater, but I'm happy I saw it on VOD. I think on the, Double Toast Sky, I give it a full price. I thought it was great. Chap. I'm interested to see more of this director's work. But what about you guys? What did you think about Bones and All? Did you get the chance to see it? I'm very curious. What does this rank in cannibal movies for you? It's high on my list. I would put it high on my list, Chad. But let me know.